Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. In this week's video, I want to just follow on a little bit from the previous video, which is where we used actor tags as a sort of check for doorways. So effectively what I did in that video was when we overlapped a key card or a doorway, the doorway would check to see if you have the key tag. And if you do, it'll allow you access. And if you didn't, then it wouldn't. And the key itself would add the tag to your character to enable you to pass through the doorway. Now, I asked in that video whether you thought that might have been a good way of doing it, and I've been doing a bit more research, and actor tags is a fine way of doing it, but it's outdated. Something that's replaced it is gameplay tags, which are much better because once you've defined a tag, you don't have to retype that tag every time. So as you can see here, I've just kept this bit of the blueprint for now just to explain it. I've manually typed in has key, and on the other end of things where I'm adding the tag to my character, I've also manually typed has key as a tag to be added. Obviously, there's a lot of potential for error there. Have I typed it the exact same way? Is it case sensitive? So far down the line, are you going to be able to remember all of these different tags? Or was it has key or has keys or something like that? There's room for error. So gameplay tags just sort of remove a little bit of that potential human error out of the way, and just make it a little bit easier for you. So if I go over to one of my characters here, I've already added some tags to it. Now, what I've got is this game. I've made a variable and I've called it gameplay tag container. And the variable type is of, if you just see there, it's a gameplay tag container type. Now, what that allows you to do is that allows you to get access to this screen here. Now, I've added sort of keys and then generic. For me, you could have keys sort of rare, keys common, keys legendary, something like that. They're just examples. Do it your own way, but for now, just for this example, I've done keys and then generic. Now, the reason why it's good is because effectively these are just booleans which you can set. So if I don't have any keys, the entire hierarchy is just unticked. Now if I go and pick up a generic key, we can tick that, and if we do a check, have you got a generic key, that'd return true, and then you can use that to gain access to things like that. And obviously just doorways and stuff like that are not the limitations here. This can be used throughout the entire thing. Do you have the ability to sprint? Blah, 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 blah. You can imagine anything that you use for like a true or false or a yes or no, obviously a boolean decision, a tag could possibly be used in that instance. And I'd say this is pretty well optimized as well. So how I've used this in my... It's pretty much the exact same thing as the previous video. I've made it like identical, let's say. So what happens is, let's just double check actually. I think I've already given my character a key. So let's remove the key, compile, and let's try again. Let's make this one just a little bit bigger as well. So over on this side, let's run over to the door. The door is going to be checking, do you have a key? Which is going to be a no. So we run over here, grab the key. The key then adds that tag to my character. So then when we go back over, the doorway is now checking, do you have the generic key tag? I do. And then as I pass through the door, I've then got it to remove that key from me, so it's effectively used that key. You don't have to do that. You could have unlimited amount of keys once you've picked one up, but I wanted it so it's just like a one-way thing. And obviously now if I run back to the door, or this portal thing, it does not allow me to go through anymore. So, I've got two ways of doing this now. I can either talk you through what I've already got, or I could remake everything that I've already done. Okay, let me delete a few things. I think it might be better if I... what I'll do, actually, I'll talk over it quickly for the people who just want to get the sort of facts, and then everybody that wants to build it from scratch, I'll do that afterwards. So what we've got is, obviously, like I said earlier, I've put a container on my character. So the container is basically any tag that I could possibly get needs to be stored in a container. So I've added a variable for containers, and I mean, I've made it instance editable on spawn. You don't need that. And that was something I was testing. But anyway, we've got these tags. Now, you might be asking, how do I make them? Now, you can make them here in this screen. So you can just do add new tag. And you can see here in the name, it's like x.y.z. And that's because you can literally put keys, dot, then generic, dot rare, for example. And you can add that as a new tag, and you can see that it's hierarchical. It's got a hierarchy. So keys.generic.rare. So I could pick up just a generic key and be absolutely fine, but there can also be rare keys which might access special areas in this scenario. So you can add as many as you want, and you can also check to see if you've got any keys at all. I might have already explained that, but you can check if you've got any keys at all. It doesn't matter if you've got, or it does or doesn't, it's up to you. You can check to see if you've got any keys at all. And if you've got any keys, that's fine. You could go through certain places, or you might need it to be keys and generic, or you might need it to be keys, generic, and rare. But you might be wondering, how would you remove them? Because obviously setting this up, I've made some mistakes. I chose the wrong names. So in your project settings, what you want to search for is gameplay, and you'll see this gameplay tags redirects. Oh, sorry, the tags list. And then in here, you can go through and, like, I don't want the rare one, so I'm just going to click this little arrow, press delete, and you'll see that that now disappears. So that's how you can delete them. Nice and simple. So if I go back to my list now, whoopsie, so it just came up saying that the rare version has been deleted. So here we've got keys and generics, that's absolutely fine. Then on the key card, so how I've added the tag to my character, what I've done is I've actually created a blueprint interface to add these onto your character. Now, there's one thing you should probably know. If I do, I think is it has tags, or is it add? Let's just double check. Gameplay tag. So there's one particular thing. I'm not going to be able to find it now, am I? So that's the one I've created. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find it now because it's going to be a nuisance. So, gameplay. Oh, here we go. So earlier on, I thought, oh, as I'm looking through this, has matching gameplay tag. I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. I've, the tag to check. This is cool. It's just going to return true or false. It doesn't work like that, apparently. So you can see here that the target is the gameplay tag asset interface. Now, apparently that is only accessible through C++. So if you've got a C++ project, you should be fine because you can implement that. But for us in Blueprints, it doesn't quite work like that. So what I've ended up going and doing is creating this blueprint interface, which obviously, if you're interested, I'm going to go through every step later on. But effectively, all I've done is I've got a function called hasTag with an input of a gameplay tag, not a container, just the tag itself, and then an output of a boolean. An add gameplay tag, which only takes in a new tag type, or just a gameplay tag. There is no return, and a remove tag, which again just takes in a tag, which will then be removed. And then what I do on my character, so when you've implemented an interface, if you've done this before, you just double click on the yellow ones. The yellow ones are basically things that don't have return types, so they typically come out as events. So once you double click on them, all I've done is with the container that I've got, I've dragged this onto here as a get, and then the new tag comes in. Use the add, let's just do this, add gameplay tag, which is a regular function. That's not something I've made, it's built in. So you drag the tag into it, and then the container's yours, and that'll add. And pretty much the exact same for remove. If we call the remove tag, we bring in the tag and then the container. So for the add tag, you might be wondering, where does that new tag come from? So if we go to the key card, you'll see here that the add gameplay tag, it asks for this new tag here. And because it's a tag type, you can literally just drop down and pick it. So I'm saying when this character overlaps this sphere, if it's a character type, add this tag to it. And then we let this BPI, sort of handle which container to put it in. It saves you having to cast to every character that you overlap. Using the interface is just a bit better. And then on the portal, very similar. So let me scroll down. I moved it over. We cast the character just to see if it is a character. I'm not accessing any data. And then the only other thing that I do is, does this character implement this gameplay tag interface? If it does, check to see if it has the specific tag generic key. If that happens to be true, then we make the doorway active and remove the collision. It's because it's like a force field kind of thing. We can then pass through. And then vice versa, when we end the overlap, what we're actually doing is we're casting to the character, and because we're pretty sure that it's going to be the same character, we don't do the check again. Worst case scenario, this would just fail. And then we remove the generic key, deactivate the barrier, and then set the collisions back to full collision so you can't pass through it. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. So that's it for the sort of overview. I'm going to go and delete half of this now, and we're going to build it from scratch for those who are interested. But if you're only watching up until here, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. But for everyone who wants to see it, hang on a minute, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, and I'm back. So we've got a clean slate at this point. So what I've done is I've set up a new character just so I don't have to sort of dismantle mine too much. So what we've got at the moment is pretty much nothing. When we walk over the key, it adds an actor tag to us, which allows us to go through, and then we remove the tag. So this is everything that we previously had. So for the key card, we add a tag has key to our character, and for the portal, we are checking to see if we have that tag, and if it is, then we're active. And that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it at this point. Now, one thing I will say is in the gameplay tags, I have still got my keys generic, just to stop my other guy from breaking, but it's just as simple as adding a new gameplay tag, keys.generic, and then you'll have the exact same as me. That's the only thing I'm not going to remove, but what we can do is we can add a new one, and I'll just remove it later, but you will see these, but your list will be empty, just for you to be aware. Okay, so on my character, so this is my character. What I'm going to do is we can add a variable called game play container or tag container, which I've already got, so just create that. And then you want to change the type to gameplay. Let's type that in, and then you want tag container. Once you've got that, just compile, and then click on your tag container, come over to the right hand side, and at this point, if you've not already created one, what you can do is add a new tag. So I'm going to put access card dot rare. So this is just going to be, I tell you what, I'll just put access cards, and this is going to be a rare access card for me. So make sure the dot is how you create the hierarchy, So make sure you put a dot in where you want different sort of levels to your thing. So then I'm going to add a new tag. And you'll see here that I've now got access cards rare. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. So we go back to edit, and you can see now that I've got keys generic, access cards rare, and I'm just going to untick both of these, just because if you tick them, you're effectively saying yes, I've got these. But we want to change that with the blueprint rather than have them permanent here. But you can have them permanent if you want. So now I've got two sets of access cards, keys, or whatever you want to call them. Now let's use blueprint to sort of modify these. So I've got a container set up. I've got some keys or access cards ready to be enabled or disabled. So what I'm going to do now is go over to my key card. So this is basic. I'm not going to talk how to make this, but it's basically just a cube. So you can see there, it's just a cube reshaped, bright orange, with a sphere around that, with a nice frame material to give it this sort of effect, and then a overlap event, a sphere collision to create the overlap event. And then on the event graph, we've got a on begin overlap of the sphere collider. We are going to cast to a character. That effectively just checks, are you of a character type? It's not my specific character. It just sort of filters down. If it's a pawn, it'll fail. If it's a static mesh, it'll fail. So only characters allowed. Then we're setting this tag. So this is the old system, so we're just going to remove that. And then I've got some special effects which appear when I walk over it, sort of like confetti, just to make it look a bit more fun, I guess. What we want to do is we need some way of adding a game tag or an access card of some type to the character that overlapped the sphere. So we need to create an interface to do so, because if we go back to the key and we do add gameplay tag and we use the built-in method, it's going to ask us what tag we need, which is absolutely fine. We can just take access card rare, no problem, but we need the container. The container is inside our character, so for us to be able to access that, we're going to need to cast to it. But what if we've got like several different character types? Are we going to have to cast to all of them? It's unnecessary. What we can do instead is we can make an interface, and we can sort of pass data through the interface and save us having to cast to everything. So in your content browser, right click, and you want blueprints, blueprint interface, and I'm going to call this BPI for blueprint interface underscore, and I'm going to call this gameplay tags manager. Just to make it different from my other one, I just put it as gameplay tags, but this is how to manage your gameplay tags. So again, this is because in C++ you can implement the asset, but in blueprints it's not necessarily there. So this is our workaround. So our first function, let's name it has tag, and I put a question mark because I it's bad practice probably, but anything that I expect to return a boolean, I like chucking a question mark on, because it's like, is it not? Anyway, has tag. So the input that I want for this is going to be a what is it going to be? Tag. I'm not allowed that apparently. Tag. That's weird. Let's change this type to gameplay tag. Gameplay tag. We're going to put this as tag to check. Just like that. The output is going to be a boolean. Has tag. And we're not allowed that too. Has tag. There we go. Has tag. compile. I'm going to add 2 more. So we want to be able to add a new tag as well. So add gameplay tag. Tags, I'm just going to put tags. It's not purely because if I put tag, it's going to tell me I've already got it existing, which was, maybe it's not, doesn't matter. So add gameplay tag. The first input is going to be new tag. New tag. The type is going to be gameplay tag. Okay, I'm not doing very well at spelling. Just so we're clear, we've got a big microphone in front of my keyboard. That's the reason, I promise. So just an input of new gameplay tag. And then same again, we need to make a remove gameplay tag. There we go, remove gameplay tag. The input is again going to be tag, and then it's going to be the type of gameplay tag. So we should have 3 things here. So we've got a has tag with an input tag and an output of. That's interesting. Where's my output gone? Oh, there it is. Boolean. Add gameplay tag, which is going to be an input of a tag and no output, and then remove again another tag, and no output again. So now on your character, what you want to do is go to class settings, and then you want to implement an interface. So press add, go down to BPI underscore gameplay tags manager, if that's what you've named it. And what you'll see on the left hand side, you'll now have these interfaces. So let's do the has tag to start with. So this is a function. So when we open that up, it's going to be the tag to check. So what we want to do is grab our container, bring it into this function, and we want to right click and do has tag, and we're looking for this one. So the gameplay tags heading and then has tag. Plug our container in, plug our tag into the tag to check, and do the return value as has tag. So that's going to be like true or false. I will come back to this exact match. This is what's going to decide whether it needs the exact tag or just one of the hierarchy. Yep, so has tag, that's sorted. So go back to the event graph. Now let's do the add gameplay tag. So double click. And you should get this event add gameplay tag. Again, we're going to need a container, so get that. And then we want a add gameplay tag, and we want the bottom one under the gameplay tags heading again. So when we call this, we're going to add a tag to the container. And the tag we want to add is this new tag. We're going to carry along with it. Repeat this process with remove gameplay tag. And we'll do remove, oh, not removed, remove gameplay tag, just like that. Connect that in. The tag we want to remove is going to be brought across, and then the tag container is just this one. Some utilities. There we go, just to differentiate them. So that's how we've implemented the blueprint interface. So we can add tags and we can remove tags. And then we can also use this has tag to check to see if this actor has the tag we're looking for. So back to the key card. So we needed this container. So what we can do now is we can say add gameplay tag. And you'll notice now we've got this BPI gameplay manager sort of add gameplay tag message. So if you click on that, this is now, when this is triggered, this is going to, let's go back, this is going to run this. And this is going to run this for us. So we've not needed to cast. All we need to do is pass in a target. So it's the object which will have this BPI, which is going to be the actor that we overlapped. So what we can do is you can either drag this other actor, but because we're already casting, we may as well just go as character, plug that in. So now as this character, we're going to use this as a target and just pause there for the autosave. So we're going to add the tag to this character. So the tag we want to add is the access card rare. So that's that, just like that. So we can pick that. You can also create a variable if you want to, and plug that in. I don't see the real need to do that, but it's up to you. Connect that to that. And that's pretty much it. We're literally, instead of adding it as text, we're using this sort of predetermined list, which you can add to, obviously, but you're never going to need to mistype it ever again. And then if we go to the portal now, we need to effectively do the same. So we're here, we're checking, has this actor got the tag has key? We need to check now if we've got the tag, the gameplay tag. So what we can do is has tag. So you can see here, has tag has come up under the BPI. Here we go. Let's pop that in. The target is this character again, because it'll have this BPI on it. Now, obviously, you can check if it does implement this interface to ensure that when it tries to do this, this is going to work. So you could, let's do another branch. Pop this in here, just like this. This is messy and I don't like it. So let's make some more space. Just like this. Let's make some more space. Let's get this in here. Like that. I'm going to double click that, pop that there. I'm going to move that down, just like that. Okay, so if it implements the interface, then we can continue. So we then check to see if it's got a tag. The tag to check is going to be this rare access card. If we have that, so if the tag returns true, we're then going to make the portal or doorway active. For me, I'm going to change the collision because mine's kind of like a force field. And if I don't have the tag, I'm going to make sure that its active is definitely false, and I'm going to definitely make sure that the collisions are off. What this allows you to do as well is if somebody's got a tag and they run towards the doorway, and then somebody else, because it's multiplayer, somebody else runs up to the door to try and run through it with them, it'll deny access to both of them. Just to try and stop people from cheating around it. Again, this probably doesn't think of every scenario, but yeah, that's what it is. Okay, and then to remove that tag, obviously we're going to remove the old way here, which is going to be finding the index and the tag. What we're going to do now is, let's just copy this does implement before we try and do this. Pop that into the BPI. Branch, if this is true. What I'm probably going to do is, yeah, if this is true, we're deactivating the portal. I just think, is that necessary? Once we end an overlap, we should close the door anyway. Just like that. But then if you implement this, what we're going to do is remove the gameplay tag. So here we go. So if that's true, if we do have this interface, the tag we're going to remove is this rare access key. The target is going to be our character. Just double click here, add that reference there. Once we've removed the tag, that's pretty much it. So what we can do is just connect that straight up to that. Nice and simple. So we're checking to see if we've got the tag. If that's true, we're activating it. Once we've passed through, we're going to remove that key card, so it's considered used. And honestly, I think that's it. We don't actually need to do anything on the characters. Let's just play and see what happens. So we run over here. Let's check the doorway. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't let us through. We then run into the key card. That should have added. Let's see if it has. Now the doorway is active. It lets me run through. Now, just before I run out of the bounds, what I want to do is just switch over to this other character and just see if we can cheat the system, because this character doesn't have the access card. So if I come over, it's then denied access to both of us. Now, obviously, we only had one key, so this has kind of ruined the game for both of us, but you shouldn't have been cheating, should you? So that's pretty much it. I hope that didn't get a little bit messy there. I had to pause a couple of times, kids running around and stuff. But I hope you could all follow through with that. And I hope this is a sort of like a better system than the original actor tags. They're both useful systems and they are both very similar to each other. But the actor tags obviously are hand typed. They're just strings. So there's lots of room for error. Where if you're mistyping something and if you've got really complicated names, you've got to remember them all. And I just think the gameplay tags are a much better system. Because once you've got them set up, you can then run them through your entire game. And I think a common scenario that people use them in is sort of like status effects. So you might have sort of status as sort of like a top level. Then underneath that you might have like effects. And then underneath that you might have things like burning or poisoned or stunned, stuff like that. And you can activate them on and off as you've been hit. You might trigger a stunned effect. If you've got a stunned effect, something else might go on. And that's just a really neat way of doing it. Because whilst I was researching it, the common theme was let's have 100 different booleans for stunned, true or false, this, true or false, and it just becomes really messy. The gameplay tag system really just allows you to keep all of that neat, and you're not got loads of branches everywhere checking stuff. It's just all in one place. You're still going to be doing checks, but it's going to be a slightly neater. Anyway, if this was of any use to you, or if you like the video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you want to leave any feedback or any comments regarding this video or anything you want to discuss in general, please use the comment section below. If you want to go into a bit more detail or send videos or screenshots, there's a Discord link down at the bottom. Come over and chat with us. If you need immediate assistance, that's usually a better way of getting hold of me. And if you want to see more videos, consider subscribing. But I will leave that with you as always, and I'll see you in another video. See ya.